All right. Good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, May 8th, 2014. And this is Before the First Cup with Jules and Lady Pitbull on UCY.tv. Good morning.
Hey, how are you?
All right. How about you?
I woke up with a headache this morning, and that usually means a migraine by mid-afternoon. So I'm trying to prevent that happening, but it's not working.
Get some oregano oil. Oh. I was reading all about that, and that stuff is so strong that all you need is just like a little dab on your finger up around your temples and around behind your ears. Yeah, it'll even cure an ear infection. You don't even have to put the stuff inside. You just put a dab and like a swab along the outside of the skin behind the ear.
Really?
Yeah. I was looking into it for skin conditions because my munchkin has a little bit of eczema, and really, I mean, nothing. If you have eczema, nothing really ever helps it. You'll just always have that dry patch, you know.
Yeah.
But oregano oil supposedly works really well for it, so I started looking into it. And honestly, look up one of these days. Go take a look at some of the things that it's used for. It's also another anti-inflammatory, like turmeric and what's the other stuff? Ginger.
Nice.
So anyway,
wow, I'm gonna have to do that. It's pretty expensive, though, isn't it?
It's not that bad. I went out to. I mean, I usually get my vitamins and stuff like at Vitacost or Swanson. You know, compare them. They have deals.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
That when we're done, I'll do that and look it up because it's not good.
Do you clench your teeth? That's what gives me the migraines. Well, years ago, I was like 13, 14. I used to have this mouthpiece, and it was like actually my friend was telling me it's like the mouthpieces they give boys at the football.
Oh.
You know, just like the little cup thing that goes into your mouth right over your teeth. Yeah. So, that was great. My dentist made that for me, and that was to stop me from clenching my teeth. And, you know, if you don't stop doing that, you crack your teeth. I have 4 cracked teeth that I've cracked over the years. You know, and then you need to get a crown. It's pretty expensive. And, you know, they'll all chip on the inside, so they're rough. So you don't want to do that. And it gives you, migraine headaches. And it can also cause a TMJ, you know, the pain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of problems. And actually in my research on me and a few of my friends, we all seem to have the same malady down our right side that has to go with the mouse arm. Starts with the mouse arm, the wrist, the fingers, goes up the arm, into the shoulder blade, up the neck, and into the jaw. And I think it's a computer malady. I really do. But grinding comes with that. So anyway, I just found at one of the drugstores, they have those mouthpieces now. They just had them at one of them, was buy one, get one free, but you, put them into boiling water, and they're BPA free and latex free, so they look like they're pretty good, but you put them into boiling water, and then you bite into them, and they make just like a real dentist's, bite thing would do. It imprints all your teeth in there. Then you let it cool, and then you put it in before you go to bed, and then you don't end up with any of that pressure in your jaw or your face or the headache or anything like that.
That's awesome. See, I'm not sure if I do it at night or not. I clench my teeth like a little bit. It's not like I do it like all the time or anything, and it's not like I rub them together. I just hold my jaw tight. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's clenching or if you actually have to do a rubbing motion or a moving motion with your jaw.
Oh, there's clenching, and then there's what they call bruxism. And bruxism, I think, includes clenching, but it also is grinding. And I mean, I do both levels. It depends, I think, on how aggravated I've been the night before and how much caffeine I've had late. You know, I really think that that's related too.
Yeah, it has to be. That's why I say I do it. I don't do it like all the time, but I don't take any caffeine in either, except for like, actually I'm drinking right now.
Hopefully not alcohol. No breakfast cocktails.
No, I never drink in the morning. I don't think I ever have drank.
I don't think I ever could. I mean, that would be
I couldn't
vomitorium. I need coffee. That's it. get me coffee or get me death.
I've got unsweetened almond milk that I was told to purchase and I put raw cacao powder in and raw honey to sweeten it to make it kind of chocolate milk type thing, and it's pretty nice. It actually, I think cacao has a lot of caffeine in it. If I'm not mistaken, like chocolate.
Oh, you mean cocoa?
Yeah, pure cacao beans.
Yeah, that's pretty
Pretty hardcore.
pretty zingy.
The caffeine department. Yeah, I got a ton of it in here, so maybe that's why I'm clenching my teeth. Drinking this stuff.
So should we post this? Coffee in hand, big girl panties pulled up, sparkle in my eye, and a smile on my face. Yep. I'd say I'm ready for the day. Bring it on.
There you go. That's awesome.
Oh,
Totally awesome.
I think it needs to be a little ruder.
It's supposed to be 80 here today.
Ah, nice. Here tomorrow.
Nice.
Which is great.
Yeah.
About
Really
time.
day off today, but not because of the weather. I took it off because of the headache.
Oh, right. Yeah, I get it. Yep. I never even thought about the weather. No, not because of the weather.
It's really not because of the weather.
Not at all. No,
Once
I would.
the headache gets better, hey, it's just a side bonus, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Warm weather helps migraines.
It does.
On porch, sunshine, cocktail.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe the vitamin D right from the sun's gonna help. Hopefully if sun's out today. It just sucks. I hate feeling crappy. You know what I mean? I don't feel crappy that much.
I'll tell you, there is something to sunlight. I mean, I've never been a big, sun worshiper.
Mm-hmm.
But, just over the last few months, I mean, I really was suffering bad from this winter. There was no sun. I mean, I barely left this office ever.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
The first couple days we had sun. My sister came into town for my dad's birthday a few weeks ago, so I went to my parents, and one of those days it got really nice. It was like 75, and the sun was beautiful, blue sky, so I brought some beers. I'd gotten some good brews to drink. And, so we did in the afternoon. We sat out on the back porch and, you know, we got out the cushions and everything for the chair. So we sat out on the back porch and the three of us all sat around and drank some brews in the sun. And I don't know, we must have been out there for probably 4 or 5 hours. And we didn't get tanked, but we had like 3 beers, I think. But by the time we came inside, I had a sunburn on my nose, and I mean, you could just see my whole face looked different, and not from color. Like it almost had looked like it had supplied me with, I mean, literally with nutrients. It was unbelievable.
Burn the gray off.
I don't know what it did, but even my dad had said something later. He's like, Joel, have you looked in the mirror? He says, look at your face. Like I looked like totally different just getting a little bit of sun.
There you go. It
So
does.
I
It
really
does.
think that, you know, I mean, they say that it causes your body to produce D. I take D, but I'm sure that naturally produced D and sun-induced D is probably much better than anything out of a bottle.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But
They've been chemtrailing the crap out of us the past, like, week.
oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can see the fog out there now, actually, looking out. The little chemtrail fog.
Usually that means some big storms are coming.
Mm-hmm.
I got anything predicted for this weekend?
Tomorrow, we're supposed to get thunderstorms tomorrow. The night before last, we had a couple of rumblers roll through here, and power went out for like 5 to 10 minutes. That was kind of interesting, and I was like, cool. My poor dog's all, I'm scared.
Yeah, we've only had one good thunderstorm so far, and it only lasted maybe 15 minutes, but it was late. I was in the middle of my nap. I actually had decided to nap with the kitty cat on the couch.
Aw.
And, oh yeah, he gets all upset if I go close the door. He beats it down. So sometimes I give in and decide that, yeah, I'm going to have massive asthma and I'll let him snuggle with me. But, yeah, it woke me up. It was thundering and lightning. And I mean, just when they're close and you get the flash and it's like a split second later,
Oh,
bam!
yeah.
Oh, that's what got me. The whole living room was going boom. But it only lasted like 20 minutes, like I said, and it was done. So that was kind of a bummer.
Yeah, man, it's the flash when you see the flash and hear it at the same exact time.
Yeah, you cover your head.
That's a bad deal right there.
That means it's immediately over you. Right?
Yes.
You know that with like the distance.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I've experienced that too. I mean, I was actually up at camp one year and it directly hit the pole outside of our little dormitory out there, and it not only did the transformer on the pole blow up, but it was like all these colors and stuff, and we were all terrified.
Did you feel all your hair stand up?
I didn't, no, but some of the other girls were saying that, but I didn't.
Yeah, my friend, Tina, way back when, I must have still been in college because I was waiting tables back in those days, but, her dad worked with my dad. So, we'd been friends. We'd worked together for 3 or 4 years already. So one Friday night, I was like, hey, I don't know why we were talking. We never even had gone out or done anything before, but we worked together all the time. So I said, hey, you want to come have some beers? So we did. We went and hung out at my father's house. We were going to go jump in the pool, because they had a nice pool and it was always warm. It was like a freaking sauna tub, because of the solar cover and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
You go night swimming, it was like 90 degrees, So I was like, why don't we go have some brews? We'll sit on the deck. We can go swimming if we feel like it, whatever. So we're sitting out there just shooting the shit. Probably like midnight. Sky is crystal clear. I mean, like literally, it was the best, their pool deck was the best place for stargazing. And you had this huge open bowl of the sky and we're right on the lake. So you didn't have any light pollution that direction. You know what I mean? It's just blackness out that way. So it was always good. I used to spend almost every weekend down there when I, lived in the city.
Nice.
The city was hot and, you couldn't see anything unless you were out drinking, but that's about all there was fun to do. So anyway, we're sitting out there having a few beers. We both needed a refill and we both had to go to the bathroom. So we turn around and we're walking down the stairs. And we're talking, this is probably late 80s, early 90s maybe. And my dad still had one of those huge 10-foot satellite dishes.
Oh, yeah.
Beep,
We had
beep, beep, beep.
those. Yeah.
We didn't have cable until after I started college. They didn't have cable out there. It's pretty far. I mean, now it's not, but 25 years ago, it was still pretty far out from the city, We lived in the boondocks. So, anyway, he had this 10-foot satellite dish and he had this little lightning rod thing on top of it. And it was right next to the pool. So, oh yeah. But the thing is the sky was crystal clear. We're both walking down the stairs and I remember reaching for the sliding glass door handle and I pulled it open. Tina walked through. I am just like a split second behind her and this bam! And bright light. The thing must have gotten hit by lightning. Tina had super long hair. Her hair went up like a Tesla ball. Oh. Every hair on my arm, my hair was pretty short at the time, I think, but every hair on my arms went bzzz. And we were so scared, literally. I thought we got hit. If we'd been out there, I wonder if we would have gotten zapped.
Oh, you would have. If you were in the water at that moment?
Or it's just sitting, the dish was right next to the deck. We were sitting right next to that thing. We had just gotten up and gone inside. Heading inside. And how does that happen on a clear night? Someone told me static.
No, there's a phenomena. And I was just about looking it up, but when there's a storm, it could be, I think, if I remember correctly, it could be about 100 miles away. if there's a thunderstorm somewhere, lightning can literally just project out way the hell out and strike somewhere where there's nothing going on.
Wow. I have to tell you, that's one of the scariest things that ever happened to me. Because it was just so close. And I mean, had it been a split second later that we gotten up, we probably would have gotten nailed.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. Let's see. It is.
Here, wait. I have a coffee cup that is scratched into it. It looks like with maybe a sharp paper clip. Mm-hmm. Sure, happy it's Thursday, like Psycho. I think that's a good one.
Oh my God. Let's see. 25 miles away, it says.
So it's very possible it could have been storming in the city or something.
Yeah, it says bolts of lightning can travel as far as 25 miles or more. Lightning kills an average of 55 people in the U.S. each year. The only two places to be safe during a thunderstorm are in a car or in an enclosed house that has electricity and plumbing. Let's see. It's not uncommon for lightning to travel far from its originating cloud. Experts say in some cases bolts have struck as much as 25 miles from where they originated. Scientists refer to these wayward streaks of blue electricity as bolts from the blue.
Yeah, that's about exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You never would have thought that it would have been lightning. It was just crystal clear. It was beautiful. It was a perfect night to go in the pool and have some beers.
Yeah, yeah. And it says, since it often seems as though the lightning comes out of the clear blue sky, that's why they call it bolts from the blue.
Wow, that's the first I ever heard of that, so thank you very much. It's always been a mystery.
Here you go. It's actually a rare phenomenon when it happens.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad we didn't die. So hey, that's twice let's have a glad I didn't die party.
Yay!
I was talking yesterday morning about how Wednesday night I was trying to celebrate it's been 8 years since I didn't die party, but nobody wanted to celebrate with me, so I had to celebrate all by myself.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was bad. I was in childbirth, but it was like nine days in the hospital in the intensive care facility with I don't know how many tubes in my arms. Every vein was blown out, both arms, because I had so many drugs on me, but they kept sticking them and then they blow my vein out, so they go do it. Oh yeah.
That's like the nurse's fault, man. That's just not being able to get a vein right. That just sucks.
Yeah, it was bad. But by that point, by Wednesday night, it had probably been day number 5 of being induced and being sick and having preeclampsia, and oh my God, I was as big as a house and I was all full of water, like just this huge blob of fluid. Mm-hmm. Oh, just please save me. Yeah.
Ouch.
I did the countdown, so I drank some alcohol and said, yay, I guess no one else will be happy, but I will. 8 years. I'm still alive. I made it.
We're happy you're here too.
Yeah, thanks. You sounded like it.
I got a pain in my head.
I did. She's like, shut up, my God, I'm
alright. I'm alright. Seriously. Wow.
I'm trying to think. Oh, well, actually, I don't want to give this away yet until all my auctions are done. There's a few people in chat who know that I'm on this new, I was birthday shopping.
Oh.
Well, you know what? Maybe I'll share it a little bit, but don't bid against me, cause I'll be mad. I was doing some birthday shopping for my munchkin the other day, and, what I had decided, and I thought actually she did enjoy it a lot, but what I was noticing is that, and she's playing Barbies, and I was a big Barbie fan growing up. My sister and I always played Barbies. We were good at it too. We didn't have a lot, but we were very creative. We always had great stories going on. So anyway, I was watching the other day and my munchkin's playing Barbies and I happen to notice she's got like 20 Barbies and one Ken.
Oh.
I'm thinking to myself, that just really, it may be reality at times, but Ken, first of all, Ken is quite effeminate, number one. Yeah. And number two, it's no fun to have one guy and 20 girls. How fun is that? So,
well, if you ask most guys.
Yeah, they'd be like, hell yeah. Well, Ken needed some competition.
That's
so
fun.
I was talking to my friend and he was saying, well, G.I. Joe's,
right?
Shit, yeah, like every kid I knew growing up had a G.I. Joe.
Oh, Joe.
And like talk about, Ken versus G.I. Joe. Right. G.I. Joe is the ultimate alpha male. So move over, Ken, because here he comes. What was that?
I'd totally go for the Joe.
Oh, exactly. So, and I mean, this Ken that we have here, he looks like Surfer Bum Ken. Not even like Ken, the prize winning surfer dude, just like right. Surfer Bum. I sleep on the beach, Ken. So, anyway, what day was it? Tuesday, I think. I had to take a run out and go get smokes and stuff, so I was stopping on my way back. I figured I'd stop whatever store, there's a big town like between where I gotta go and Rochester, and they have all kinds of stores there. So I'm like, whatever store's there, I figure we'll find a Target or something. And yeah, there was a Target there. Target does not have good toys. Yeah, they're just stuck. So the only thing I found there was another Ken.
Oh, no.
You know what? He was on sale for like $5. And he was dressed in like a Hawaiian shirt with khaki pants. I was like, well, he almost looks like a California computer programmer Ken. Like maybe we could sell him as that. So you got Beach Bum Ken and computer programmer Ken. So my friend's going, well, you got a Toys R Us near you? I'm like, all the way back home, but I guess that might be a good place to go find G.I. Joe. They had no G.I. Joe at Target. So,
oh man.
Yeah, no, none, nothing. So I go to Toys R Us. I am wandering around and we got a big one here. And by this time it's rush hour, 5:00. I had to fight people to get there. So now I'm there. So I'm going up and down. I don't see anything. So I go ask someone. I'm like, where's the G.I. Joe? He's like, oh yeah, here, follow me. Down here, end of that aisle. All right. I go and I got a choice of 3. One is a doll dressed in a black ninja outfit, no face. 2 is one dressed in a white ninja outfit, no face. And the 3rd is a special ops. I work for Blackwater, shave my head, wear a goatee, and walk around with a switchblade in my teeth type dude. And I said no.
Oh my God, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, they didn't have just standard G.I. Joes. Oh, and then, so then I walked down some of the other aisles. It wasn't Call of Duty. It was Heroes or something. They had one dude. He wasn't camo. I have to give him that. But he had what are they called? The crisscrosses that have all the bullets in them?
Yeah, bandoliers.
Bandoliers. Yeah, I was going to call it landolier. He had a bandolier. He had an assault rifle.
Cool.
He had hand grenades.
That's cool.
I thought it was cool, kind of. But I was like, all right, am I going to come home with Computer Ken, Mercenary Ken? Because that's probably not. I mean, do I really want her to have her Barbies dating the dude with all the weapons?
Hell yes, you do. That's awesome.
Well, I skipped it. Hold on. So I skipped it, and I was kind of pissed by this point because I was like, son of a bitch, you know how many hours now I've been looking for a G.I. Joe? So I wandered down a few more aisles, and then there's this clearance section, and there's a bunch of some unknown, at least to me, teen rock star idols. that all have action figures. They've been $14. I think they were half price. They're like $7. They were all the standard 12-inch, and 2 of them actually looked slightly masculine.
Oh, that's interesting.
And they were both holding microphones.
Oh boy.
So I did. I got one's named Liam and one is named Neo, and one had like a pullover hoodie and some jeans. The other one had like a sweater and with a collar shirt underneath it and a pair of khakis on. So I tell you what, I came back with a computer Ken and 2 rock stars. She went crazy. and she already got them all set up for dates, but it really ended up working out great. So we had them all set up sitting on couches and chairs, like to meet girls. And, oh my God, I just talk about what you do for your kid, but I mean, I can't, where the hell's the G.I. Joes?
Yeah, man, the G.I. Joes. I'm disappointed in that.
Why would they, the only thing I'm thinking is it because it glorified war. I mean, they had accessories like every gun under the planet, every knife under the planet. I mean, is that why they're not being sold anymore?
Probably. There's these politically correct, like, mothers running around.
Yeah.
I'll never
ban G.I. Joe.
Kid a toy gun. You know what I mean?
I don't know, but I mean, it just seems weird. Every kid I grew up with had at least one G.I. Joe. Haven't like generations of kids.
It's true.
And now they're not in the stores? Toys R Us only has ninja guys? I mean, what?
I bet you people sell them like on eBay and stuff.
Right. And so, but they're old ones. There's no new ones that I see.
Yeah,
so,
that's just a
anyway, it is. So we get yesterday we're doing the meet and greet. So we got Beach Bum Ken, we got computer programmer California khaki and Hawaiian shirt Ken. And then we had the 2 rock stars, which, I gotta tell you, she already gets the picture. She's like, oh, they're all gonna run after the rock stars because they're famous. And I'm like, ha ha, Ken, eat it up, Ken. Thank you for being lazy all these years.
Competition.
Yeah, big time. So, needless to say, I got a couple things I'm watching on eBay, so there might be a party of Ken's coming too. Or not Ken's, a party of G.I. Joes showing up.
Oh, right on. Those guys are just gonna push those stupid little ass rock stars aside. Excuse us, we're here now. Awesome.
Oh, anyway, so I've been amusing myself for the last day or two.
It's pretty cool, actually.
And that night I wanted to celebrate the Thank God I'm Alive party.
Not a G.I. Joe, damn it.
Yeah.
Could have posed G.I. Joe and make him hung onto your beer and
Joe could have partied with me. I bet he would have too.
That's cool.
Hey, if I get a lot of G.I. Joes, there's going to be one that becomes the UCY Jules desk mascot. How's that?
Right on. Hell
like
yeah.
a voodoo doll. Don't piss me off. I'll get some hair.
Make sure he's got a little M4 in his hands.
Yeah, there you go. All right. That's enough silliness.
Yeah, but it's fun.
It's hot in here. I gotta tell you that. I think I need to prop the door open.
There you go. What is it? Hey, it just turned 70 here. It's actually warmer outside than it is inside right now.
It's 58, but there's also 8 computers worth of, heat in here that needs to be let out.
Oh, yeah. I'd say so.
So, anyone heard from Zori? Did she get anywhere near where she was headed?
Well, I think she said on Tuesday, she was going to Texas first.
Oh, I didn't know I thought she was going to Nevada first.
She's going to Texas first for her friend, and then she's going to go back through Arizona, apparently.
Yeah.
Vince.
Well, you gotta go through New Mexico, which I just saw there was another shooting yesterday.
Oh boy, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty upset, man. I gotta tell you, for 20 years, I held New Mexico like in a really happy place in my heart, as a place that was so beautiful that I loved, that I always wanted to go back to. And then I finally got to go back this past year on my little trip that I did. And since, I mean, none of this came out before I took my trip, if you remember that, right? I was there last January, and it's been coming out probably over the last 6 to 8 months of all these horrific things that have been going on there, and I was right in the middle of it.
Glad you got out.
Oh, I'm really glad I got out, but now it's just like absolute mayhem.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
Man wants to marry his MacBook.
Go for it, dude.
Yeah, that's what I say. Anyway, continue. I'm just scrolling.
Well, I don't know. Then she was gonna go pick up Vince, and then they were gonna go to the ranch.
Gotcha.
So, and you know, Tuesday, I have to say, and I have to also admit that I was skeptical about her going at the beginning. And then you know what? She did a darn good job at convincing me on Tuesday on air. And so now I'm totally supportive of her. And, I admire her gumption for sticking by her guns and making it happen. So kudos to you, Zori.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was actually a good conversation on Tuesday. I have to admit.
I still have to say that you probably couldn't convince me.
Right, well. That's alright. But she's definitely got convictions in place, and she's sticking by it, damn it, and you can't ask for anything better than that.
Well, all I can say is that JJ and I had convictions and thought it was so important to go see the historic Occupy movement in New York City, which we did. We were there the day that they arrested the first arrest for any of the protests. Those 700 people, I believe, up on that bridge. And we managed to not get arrested. But here we find out 2 years later that they were planning on snipering people.
Really?
Oh, did you see any of those reports? They were up on buildings with snipers. They were going to start picking protesters off.
Like they did in the Ukraine?
So all I'm saying is, and look at what happened to Occupy. I mean, I really thought that this was going to like change everything. And look what happened. So all I'm saying is, be careful. I usually sit back, man. I don't want to be the first one in, and I also don't want to be the one arrested, because there's more important things for me to do than worry about getting bail. And,
yeah.
And becoming, you know, somebody's bonus, because they go, look, we got us a protester. Look, it's one of those crazy libertarians. Yeah, no thanks. Don't want that to be my picture in the history books.
Oh my God. Yeah, you won't really catch me at a protest either, but this is like different than a protest. What's going on at the Bundy Ranch? It's more like
lots of drunk people.
Yeah.
A big party for them to show up at.
Yeah, it's that too, but I think it's more like a stand your ground kind of thing.
I think Bundy should just pay the freaking taxes or go find more land and then be done with it. Well, go ahead.
They should put a lien on his house. That's what they shouldn't be going in there with guns and tasers and shit like that.
And here's the thing, still $1 million short and shutting down the tortoise habitat, but you spent how many millions already sieging his ranch?
Yeah.
So, you know what? Get off of it, because you're all dumb. Seriously. I mean, when I look around the world, I see lots of dumb people. You know, people that just don't get it. And here's the thing, you know, and then I see a Facebook friend of mine posting about the tortoises, absolutely not a clue that anything is going on with the Bundy Ranch. It's a petition to go sign up for, BLM to rethink it and find their money somewhere else instead of taking it out of the tortoises. That's what actually made me start thinking about it. I was like, yeah, why doesn't BLM take it out of their Bundy budget?
There you go.
It just,
that's a good question, actually.
I almost commented on, on the petition. You can put comments in when you sign your name.
Funny.
I didn't.
That's a good point. I like that point.
I'm sure they spent a few million already, so they're gonna shut it down, and they just blew all that money that they said they didn't have, that the federal government wasn't going to give them for their budget. They blew it all. So now what? So what else now are you not going to fund because you're spending all this manpower?
Right. That's
we got millions coming out our ass. Or do we? Wait. Maybe we do.
Yeah.
Just not for the tortoises.
Not for the tortoises.
Here, I just found a HuffPost article, 21 awesome drunk purchases your sober self would thank you for buying.
Drunk purchases?
Yes, number one.
I've never heard of that before.
Oh, my sister and I would do that in New York City. I'm sure my sister's done it way more than me. Where you go out, like in New York, when you're out and about in New York, you usually stop and having a few beers at a bar, and then, we're stopping at a club and then going here and then going there, and then you're like, oh, look, a thrift store. It's
like
a day of ADD shopping.
ADD. Man, I make a point to not buy anything when I'm drunk.
Yeah, I usually don't, and usually I'm not anywhere around where there'd be anywhere to buy. Well, except online. I have made drunk online purchases. But usually not in a store, unless I'm in New York City. So, here, we'll look at this list here. Number 1, the Nicolas Cage pillow. Hey, when I was growing up, I had a welcome back cotter. It was a big, full size, this huge pillow, tall and long, of Horseshack.
What? Oh my God, that's the weirdest shit.
My sister had Vinnie Barbarino because she had the fit. Just like when we used to play Barbies, we had Ken, and then we had Oscar Goldman. And Oscar Goldman had a plaid sports coat, so we always used to fight over who was going to get stuck with Oscar Goldman, and she always won and got Ken, because she would start crying. She was the youngest. I don't want Oscar, so I'd get stuck with Oscar. Well, the same thing when my grandmother gave us these welcome back cotter pillows. I think I actually got Vinnie Barbarino. My sister had a fit. I don't want Horseshack, so I got stuck with Horseshack.
Dude, that is funny as hell. I've got tears in my eyes because I'm laughing so much. No, it's funny. Horseshack.
I hated that pillow. Though, you know what? Horseshack and I got to be friends.
Well,
yeah, we got to be friends, because, I had Horseshack in my room.
Dude, that's so funny. Oh my God. That's way too funny. We never mess with Barbies. We always played model horses.
Mm.
And
yeah, I never had any horses.
We did the Barbie thing with the Breyer horses. And, never had Barbies, really. Not even Barbies to ride the horses. We just always played house with the horses. Oh,
that's a good idea, though. Actually, last year, my munchkin got a couple horses. I think my mom got them, but I made sure that they were Barbie-sized horses. So, yeah, if the Barbies ever want to go take a ride on a horse, there's a stable full of them up there now.
Nice.
Living on the bottom shelf of a bookcase.
Oh, well, that's actually a nice date to go for a ride on a horse.
Oh, we should suggest that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I love about Barbies. I couldn't believe she was playing with them intermittently until the last time we did a big cleanup. 'Cause last Christmas I went on eBay and, I did Barbie stuff, but I mean, as a kid I used to make so much, furniture. My mother used to make all of our clothes. She had a little pattern where she'd make these dresses, and it was just a few, snips of cloth and a little bit of lace around the bottom and the top and a few snaps, ding ding. It was one zip, top and bottom on the sewing machine.
Oh,
and then 4 stitches for the snaps on the back, and you had all these ball gowns. So we had tons
Awesome.
of clothes and all kinds of furniture because we'd just make it out of like recycling stuff. You know, we'd always be
Sure.
picking through the garbage and cutting things and gluing them. So I teach my daughter that. We have lots of homemade Barbie furniture, and for the longest time we didn't buy anything, just what basically came with the, you know, you'll get like the Barbie that comes with the little set, like the dentist Barbie or whatever.
Sure.
But last Christmas I was like, you know what, it's time. Cause there was this Barbie house that, my mom had found, and of course there was no furniture in it. And I'm like, no, don't buy Barbie furniture. I'm gonna go. So I went on eBay. Oh my God, I think I might have spent $30.
Oh,
And
jeez.
you would not believe the stuff I found.
Wow.
I mean, entire like 8-piece place settings for, a very ornate, you know, dinner table with the salad
Damn.
bowls and the wine glasses and the candelabras and the fork, knife, and
Wow.
spoon.
Oh my God.
I gotta tell you too, anything that's miniaturized like that, I just totally love. I mean, honestly,
Yeah,
especially
those
if they look cool. But yeah, I found furniture. I must have spent $30 and people had these lots. You know, you figure kids grow up or whatever, and the mother's like, oh, clean out this room. So they had these lots of like everything you can imagine, clothes, furniture, all, I mean, I found this one, there was a refrigerator that came with the house, so I set out to find food. It was like $1.50. I must have gotten 100 fake little packages in their little boxes and their little like hard squares and cereal and shampoo and toothpaste. Like, and for $4 I found a real shopping cart even for like doing groceries.
Oh no. That's cute.
Last year I had a blast. So since we went through, we separated all that stuff out. So we have accessories in one basket. We have clothes in another. We have another big thing that all the Barbies go into, and the house is all staged now. And since we've done all that, that's all really, I mean, after she's done with her homework, she's either on her bike or scooter, or if it's crappy out, she's playing Barbies.
Holy shit, G.I. Joe needs to come over for frickin' dinner now.
I think so. But, you know, I gotta tell you, talk about just having been a big Barbie fan as a kid. And I mean, even without Barbies having horses, you know, that really fuels your imagination, you know? And that's like, I at least think, like when you learn stuff in society on a daily basis, you know, you act out that stuff when you're playing Barbie. So I really think it's a good way to kind of, you know, hang out and listen to what your kid's doing to gauge what, you know, I mean, especially if there's an issue, I'm sure you'd see things coming out in their doll play. And don't they even do that with kids, like sociologists?
Yes, they do. Psychiatrists do
Yeah.
that. Yes. Have them draw pictures, have them, you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, they do that.
Well, and have them play with dolls as this doll's like beating the crap out of that one. You're like,
Right, exactly. Yeah, they definitely do that.
So
I don't know,
you're right. Guys might be laughing at my Barbie stories, but it's been a lot of enjoyment, and it's the one time she is quiet for more than 5 minutes.
Ah, well there you go.
Mom, you know what? Mom, you know what? Mom, you know what? Mom. I'm like, ah! By 7 o'clock, I'm like, what? So then people wonder why when I get 33 messages on Skype and Facebook and whatever, and people complaining that they didn't get a return email from me. Trust me. I probably am laying on the floor in a ball going, stop!
Oh jeez. Where's a beer? Where the hell's G.I. Joe?
Some weeks are better than others. Yeah, I think G.I. Joe, I got a perfect spot right on the bottom of my lamp here on my desk. And with a bar behind it, man, I'm gonna find like, I know in those accessories we bought last year, there were a couple cocktail bottles. I think I'm gonna get G.I. Joe a cocktail.
Bartender G.I. Joe, hell yeah.
He's gonna have a cocktail, I'm gonna find him a firearm and a knife. And I'm gonna make him lean up against the pole here in a drunken stupor. He'll be my mascot. We'll have to take pictures of him and we'll put him like in different poses and post them.
It's hard target at the end with a little pencil hole pushed through it.
Yeah, there you go.
Bin Laden's face or something.
Oh my God, the guys in chat yesterday when we were talking about this whole G.I. Joe dilemma. I think it was Jackson Joe Friday were posting Robot Chicken episodes with the G.I. Joes. Oh my God, they were hysterical.
I love those. Those are so great.
Yes, they were hysterical. All right, so wait. I want to go down this list here quick because then I'm going to get into some serious news. This list is the 21 awesome drunk purchases your sober self would thank you for buying. So number 1 was the Nicolas Cage pillow. Number 2, a bow tie for a cat. And by the way, there are pictures that go along with all these, so I will share those after I'm done. Number 3, a trip to Iceland. Oh wait, these all have quotes underneath them. So wait, go back to the Nicolas Cage. Quote, do I ever get drunk and order things off of Amazon? No! Why do you ask? And then there's a picture of Nicolas Cage. Number 2 with the bow tie for the cat. Quote, I was browsing eBay while drunk, so naturally I bought my cat a bow tie. The cat's ears are down, like, get this thing off me.
That's too funny.
Number 3, the trip to Iceland. So, ... I got drunk this past weekend and drunkenly bought this plane ticket to Iceland. Looks like I'm going in August. Number 4, this decorative rug depicting Saddam Hussein. It looks like a hook rug. Underneath it, it says, quote, went on eBay drunk, ...
That's funny. Oh my God.
That was hysterical. All right, number 5, a Mexican predator statue from the movie, The Predator.
Oh my God.
How can you tell it's Mexican?
Yeah.
It says, quote, got drunk in Mexico. Bought a statue of Predator flexing made of bones. No regrets here.
No regrets.
Number 6, and this has an asterisk with it, a puppy. Quote, my mom got drunk last night and bought my family a 3rd dog. Everybody meet Hudson. The asterisk says, we don't actually recommend bringing home a puppy while drunk, even if it is this cute.
Actually, I got a dog from a friend that was drunk who did that.
Oh, really? Brought the dog over and said, here.
Yeah, well, he didn't know how to take care. Man, there is a rare bird sitting outside my window right now. It's all yellow. Oop, just flew away. Yeah, he's like, I was out 4 a.m. and these kids were out here and they had this puppy and I was really wasted. And I'm just like, give me it. I'll take care of it. You're not even feeding it right. Oh my God. So I ended up with this dog.
Aww.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure the dog was happy.
Yeah.
Number 7, a horse mask. It's
Whoa.
like a full-size person wearing a horse head.
Oh my God.
And it says, best drunk purchase ever. Number 8, a McDonald's meal. ... from the Domino's guy. Drunk. Got the Domino's guy to buy me McDonald's in the special instruction section. He must have gone to Domino's website. And then there's an area that says special instructions, like for well done.
Wow.
And he told him to stop at McDonald's.
Too funny.
Number 9, the first 4 Game of Thrones books. This was my drunk Amazon purchase. Am I doing it right? Number 10, an abstract portrait of a monkey. Apparently I went drunk shopping again on Amazon last Saturday and this arrived today. I regret nothing. Number 11, a stately portrait of a monkey. My friend's latest drunken eBay purchase. Now, wait, number 12, my favorite, and it may become a before the first cup announcement. A stuffed squirrel riding a miniature horse.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, actually, it's pretty cool looking. It says, quote, I just got drunk and bought this guy. What should I call him? Number 13, a mug that looks like a sea captain. Number 14, a mug with a picture of Gary Busey on it.
Oh, God.
It says, ordered at 4 a.m., in parentheses, drunk, forgot about it, showed up in my mailbox yesterday. Number 15, an umbrella hat. Which is really ridiculous looking. Number 16, Batman supplies. And it's a grappling hook and some throwing stars in the shape of bats.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
Number 17, some dude laying in bed with a pizza on the floor next to the bed. A pizza that you forgot about until you wake up the next day.
Ew.
He's having breakfast in bed. Number 18, a Choco Taco that you forgot about for 3 days.
Ew.
Number 19, 1,000 communion wafers. Now that would be funny.
That's weird, huh?
1,000 communion wafers with Nutella.
Oh, jeez.
That looks really gross. Number 20, season 1 of a childhood favorite. This one happens to be Johnny Bravo. I did that once. I actually drunk purchased on eBay. Oh shit. It must have been 36 DVDs of Pee-wee's Playhouse.
You've got to be kidding.
Someone had it for $10.
Oh, wow.
For 36 DVDs. I mean, do you know how many episodes that is?
That's a lot.
Oh, that could be Pee-wee Playhouse until you went insane.
Actually, I used to get up specifically and watch that.
So
all
did we.
hungover and shit.
And it was the craziest, most
It really
insane
was.
show ever. Yeah.
And if you smoked smoked one just before, it was even better.
Yeah. Here, it was on like Sundays at 11. So you could still get up. And I was in college at the time, so I was living in the city, but I would come back in the summertime on the weekends to visit. And my sister still hadn't, it must have been 87, I think, because she hadn't left for college yet. So yeah, I would come back for the weekends and my father and I would sit up and have some brews, and then I'd get up Sunday and my sister and I would watch Pee-wee's Playhouse.
That's cool.
All right. And number 21, this awesome little Sebastian poster that says, I met little Sebastian at the Pawnee Harvest Festival, which is it's a horse sticking its head through a picture hole in the wall.
It's cute.
Wah, 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 wah. So how about them apples?
It's funny.
I don't know. Do we really have to get to real news now?
Is that, I have a question though. Is that squirrel riding the horse, is that a stuffed animal? The whole
Yeah, it
thing?
looks like it's a taxidermied squirrel, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, taxidermy's kind of gross, but he still is cute. I mean, I didn't kill him and taxidermy him. Here, wait, copy image location. We'll stick him in chat.
I've got video of my sister's Pomeranian. She's got a stuffed animal horse. And for some reason she's got a male and a female Pomeranian. And the female, they like to hump this thing. Like big time. They like to sit there and hump it. Both the dogs. But the female will get down on the ground with this thing and hump it and then push it across the floor while she's humping it. And she like goes all around the room like that. And it's just hilarious to watch this. It's just really funny to see that. That's why I was asking about that. Because it would be funny if it was a stuffed horse and a stuffed squirrel and then watching a Pomeranian push it across the floor all over the place. That would be actually hilarious.
No.
Oh, okay, I'll stop.
It's taxidermied.
Oh, I see. There it is. Oh, look at that. Too funny. Oh my god, that's funny. That is a total taxidermy squirrel. Wow.
Yeah, I think actually it said in there. Hold on, I don't want to lose this.
Oh my god, did you see? Okay, Coop just posted G.I. Joe Barbie.
Yeah?
Yeah, and it's funny because it's got like it's got another doll, and she's, she's in this like pretty much copy.
Yeah, I see that.
It's pretty cool. The dog's got a little grenade in his mouth. That's funny. Oh my god.
So I'm not sure what to talk about. I have so many things.
Been jerking around for an hour. About nothing.
It's talking about me.
Be well, talking about Barbie and G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hey.
There's a melting seat.
You don't have to listen.
That's right. That's right.
Oh well.
We've been having fun. I don't care.
It's called Wake Up and Have Some Coffee.
Right.
I don't know. Yesterday I came on and I was all grouchy. Don't get me on the air grouchy. Cause then I just start going, it all sucks. All
it's
right.
easy to do nowadays. So we gotta have a laugh. Gotta have a laugh once in a while. Absolutely. I feel a lot better now that we've laughed.
Oh, well, there you go. Hopefully your headache is better.
Yeah.
All right. So what am I gonna deal with now? What do I care about this morning is
I was asking myself that question earlier.
Usually not much.
FPS Russia put out a new video. I was very happy about that.
Really?
I really like it. It's fantastic.
Do you have them?
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat right this second. Bam. It's World War II weapons, and the M1 Garand and the M1 carbine he featured, and I've got a little carbine, and that damn thing is awesome. And it's awesome that he featured that, so I'm all happy about that. Plus, if you like good explosions, watch FPS Russia. Those videos rock.
Oh yeah, he was the dude. Didn't one of them get killed?
Yeah.
I remember that.
I don't know if they ever solved that or not. No idea.
No, that story kind of went through the cycle and disappeared.
Yeah, it's weird, huh?
Here, I'm gonna pull myself in. Let me just kill this, let me kill the feed so we don't have to listen to ourselves. And I will do some sharing. Alright, there we go. There are a few things. Something that I found kind of interesting was this thing that's going on now with China. You remember China was giving everyone problems in the, whatever the sea was off the coast there between Japan and China, and they were fighting over the airspace.
Yeah.
Well, now China is ramming Vietnamese ships with their ships. Did you see that?
Whoa, are you shitting me?
No, I'm not. And I guess there's some big dispute over oil going on out there. China says it's in their part of the ocean, and Vietnam says no, it's not. Whoops, hold on. No, it's not. And so they were out there the other day, and the Chinese ships started ramming the Vietnamese ships.
Whoa.
So, now you know that Obama just did his tour. I don't remember if he made it to Vietnam. He was hitting all those Trans-Pacific Partnership countries, getting them to pledge their alliance with UN and NATO and the US against China.
Yep.
And, of course wants them to ink everything. But I don't know if that happened. But anyway, here, let me play this clip because this is something to pay attention to in the middle of all this posturing with the Ukraine, which we could talk about that too. This is something that's kind of under the radar, and all I've seen is one little blip on this. And nobody's talking about it, but
Vietnam claimed today that Chinese ships have intentionally rammed some of its vessels in the South China Sea. Officials showed video of one of the ramming incidents. The Chinese ships also fired water cannons at Vietnamese crews. Hanoi said several boats were damaged and 6 people were injured. The confrontation came as Vietnam is trying to stop China from operating an oil rig near the Paracel Islands in disputed waters.
Vietnam will have to use all measures stipulated in the UN Charter to defend its interests. As you know, this is a very sensitive and dangerous issue, and we think it threatens peace, stability, and maritime safety and security in the South China Sea.
China insisted the oil rig was in its territorial waters and that drilling there is normal and legal. But in Washington, the State Department called the Chinese actions provocative and dangerous.
There you go. Provocative and dangerous.
Yeah, boy.
So pay attention because this has been quietly happening for a while. And it seems like it's escalating now. I mean, they are not only going after some of the air traffic and some of the ship traffic. Remember, they were flying bombers before, too, right? And we kept buzzing them, and then they were buzzing us. But now they're going after other country stuff, too.
This is interesting because you have all that stuff happening in the Ukraine, largely due to our provocateurism. Provocateurism, that's a good word. And now here we go, not necessarily provocateuring it, but we are verbally, he wants to verbally ramp it up against China. So what is the stage being set here? He's over there trying to get everybody to ink on to the European Union or whatever the hell it is.
No, this whole TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership, and come in and be part of the UN because the UN will protect you against China. That's what he was telling them.
Right.
But we're poking China with a stick.
Mm-hmm.
And we're poking Russia with a stick. So,
that's right.
Careful what you ask for.
Mm-hmm. Maybe this is all being done on purpose.
Or whatever. I mean, I'm not really sure what they're trying to do now. They're just plain dumb, but stop poking people with a stick. My thing is, can't we just all get along?
Not if you're trying to take over the world.
Well, why don't you live in the land of Jules then? Because in my land, we can all just get along.
Right.
Except on the days when I get up and I'm in a really bad mood. Then you gotta listen to me bitch for a little while, but besides that, we all get along.
Aren't there some disputed islands in that region too, between like Japan and China?
Yeah, that's where that whole fight was going on with where they put that no-fly zone or whatever it was.
Yeah. So it's ramping up there too. So and then it's ramping up in Africa and ramping up, with these,
Well, we're gonna talk about Africa because this is such a ploy of bullshit. And it's not bullshit because this Boko Haram, I think, is for real, but we probably trained them. We probably gave them guns. They're probably some spin-off radical group that we set off to go start stirring up trouble a long time ago. But I'm not quite there yet. So we got to wait until we get back to that page.
Sure.
I did want to talk about some of what's going on in Russia. So this is sort of oddball. Putin backed down a little bit yesterday, decided that, now they said that they weren't going in. They were moving troops. I'm hearing now that there's no evidence that any of the Russian troops are moving away from the Ukrainian border. There was supposed to be a referendum vote happening today, I believe, and Putin has asked them to hold that vote off until the presidential elections now coming up in the next month or two. Let me see. I got to scroll down a little bit. There were a bunch of stories. And if I can't find them here, I'll have to just hop over to the other page where I posted them all last night here. Now, the pro-Russians, which were the Crimeans, if you remember, have now been painted as terrorists. Did you notice that? How all of a sudden the story changed? Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, the people of Kiev were, liberating themselves. Then they got out of hand. And then you had them, and that was right about the time when you saw us over there trying to drop money and go against, the money that they had taken from Russia. Mm-hmm. And that's when things got a little crazy. And then people of Kiev started going after the southern towns that were more Russian. Some of the Russians that were already in Crimea, right? They were taking over some of the bases that they had already run.
Yes.
So it wasn't that big of a deal. All the people were saying we're brothers, so I don't know why we're having this fight even. And then things got violent here over the last week. There were some people that were burned alive in a building.
Oh my God, yeah.
That was down, I don't remember the name of the city. It was some weird one that I can't say that starts with an S, but it was down again in the pro-Russian section, southern Ukraine. So anyway, out of all this, tensions have been heightened over the last few days to the point, we got troops all over now in the Slavic countries sitting right at the border. And then this comes out yesterday. So hold on.
President Vladimir Putin tells Western diplomats that Russia has pulled back its troops from the Ukrainian border. But the White House says there's no evidence that the 40,000 troops Russia has on the border have moved. Putin is also urging insurgents in southeast Ukraine to postpone their referendum Sunday, and at the same time is calling on Ukraine's military to halt all operations against pro-Russia activists. Funeral services were held in the Ukrainian cities of Sloviansk and Odessa for civilians and pro-Russia separatists killed in fierce fighting last week. 4 people were buried in Sloviansk, where Ukrainian government troops launched a campaign to regain control of buildings. In Odessa, dozens of people attended a funeral for a prominent pro-Russia separatist. There's concern in Kiev that Odessa could be the next region to fall after 46 people died on Friday when pro-Russian marchers clashed with security forces. One Ukrainian presidential candidate says it is pointless to negotiate with separatists.
For those people who keeping the machine gun, for those people who killing the people, for those people who are terrorists, we should find out the right language they understand. And that would be the language of force.
And it's the cause of the conflicts that continue to raise concerns.
There should be no doubt that the Russian government is trying to orchestrate conflict and provocations in the east and south of Ukraine, and that the immediate goal is the disruption of elections on the 25th of May.
Trying to reduce tensions, Western nations are increasing their diplomatic efforts ahead of Ukraine's May 25th presidential election. Tracy Brown, Associated Press.
Okay, so the election for the president is on the 25th. So Putin, after that story yesterday, Putin comes out and says, hold your horses.
И ОБСЕ, Организация по безопасности и сотрудничеству.
We ask the representatives of southeastern Ukraine, supporters of the federalization of the country, to postpone the referendum on May 11 this year to create the condition for dialogue.
Хочу подчеркнуть, что намеченные в Киеве президентские.
I want to emphasize that the presidential election to be held in Kiev is going in the right direction.
Движение в правильном направлении, но.
But it will not solve anything if all Ukrainian citizens do not understand how their rights will be guaranteed after the presidential election.
После проведения этих президентских выборов. Нам все время.
We have been told that our troops at the Ukrainian border were of concern. We have pulled them back, and today they are not at the Ukrainian border, but in places of regular exercises at training grounds.
Гостя еще раз президента Швейцарии, который.
Now, I was a little bit surprised by that, and I'm going to tell you why. Because they've been putting sanctions on Russia now. And I saw the other day that there was some new sanction that, honestly, when I read it, I kind of laughed like, what's that going to do? Where it said that some of the U.S. banks were going to stop doing business with Russia, and it would prevent them from investing and stuff in the U.S. And I thought, with all their oil and everything, and Putin's a rich dude, man.
Right.
Is that really going to make that big of a difference? But, my one friend was saying, well, look at Putin's backing down now because of the sanctions. Here, I'm going to read this. This is what came out the other day. This is from the 5th. U.S. to use tax law on Russian banks. The United States is planning to use an anti-tax evasion law to punish Russians for its actions in Ukraine, a tactic that could prove to be more costly than sanctions. The law passed in 2010, long before the Ukraine crisis, but it could become a powerful economic weapon. Beginning in July, federal law requires U.S. banks to start withholding a 30% tax on certain payments to financial institutions in other countries unless those foreign banks have agreements in place to share information about U.S. account holders with the Internal Revenue Service. This was part of that whole let's quit money laundering thing where they were going to start going after banks in the Cayman Islands, right? This is like, oh, it's going to end your Cayman Island account. And if you remember, they went after the Swiss banks a while ago. Yep. And the Swiss said, well, we're not going to give you the information because that's why people like to do business with us. Is because
that's right.
You can put your money here and we won't tell anyone that it's Nazi money. Isn't that what they did? They hid all that
Pretty
money.
much.
Yeah. So, we came out and said, well, we're going to tell you what, screw you, because you are going to tell us whose money that is. Otherwise, we're going to penalize you majorly economically. And I did not realize it was a 30% tax.
That's huge, man.
Yeah, that's a third. If you don't give it up, man. All right. It says, but Russia and a dozen other countries have been negotiating information sharing agreements with the U.S. in an effort to spare their banks from such harsh penalties. But after Russia annexed Crimea, and I mean, I still don't see how they can say annexed because those people were all standing there going, Mother Russia, please take us back.
Right. Exactly. It was a choice.
This is so much bullshit. You know, I've had a few arguments over, is it Putin? Is it us? Well, do we side with Putin? Do we side with us? Well, Putin really isn't a good guy. Remember, blowtorch and needle-nose pliers.
Right.
But are we a good guy? But if we don't side with us, are we then pro-Putin? And are we saying screw the U.S.? I mean, I still love our country. I just think all these crooked assholes that are in charge need to get out of Dodge.
Right. And playing those videos back to back was good.
I mean, I don't necessarily support Putin. Putin's got some sort of alpha male thing going on, so it makes me kind of smile girlishly every time I see him running around shirtless with a gun. But, you know, I mean, that's very cursory.
I think he is keenly aware at how these operations have been conducted as far as the Ukraine goes. And so he is trying to put himself in a position into saying, look, we've got to protect these elections coming up. And the video before that said that the elections were going to be disrupted by pro-Russian forces. So,
I missed that.
That was
so by
glaring
asking
to me.
the pro-Russians to back off will now help the sanctity of the elections if they're not in the middle of it where someone can point and go, look, now you're disrupting.
That's right. And that's what's going on. That's why in that first video, it was the American side that said that, you gotta be careful. We don't want the Russian elections to be disrupted. And, you know, they're gonna be the ones disrupting, right?
Right.
And then blame it on Russia. So that's what Putin's trying to counteract, I think, with this.
Well, that's a good call on that. I know it was late. It was early hours of this morning, but I was trying to figure out what was going on there.
So that was perfect. Play those two back to back. That's what jumped out at me anyway.
Well, I think that's a good thought. And I don't think, I mean, honestly, sanctions I think are going to hurt them. But on the flip side, they got big shit going with China.
Oh,
and I think that's why now we're really starting to ramp it up and work on getting all those other countries lined up against China.
And Russia.
This wasn't Pacific Rim. They weren't lining up against Russia, but Russia and China are in total business cahoots together against us.
That's right. And so they're going to do anything and everything to align as many of the surrounding countries against them as possible to create the World War III.
Well, and I don't know even if it's going to be dropping bombs or anything, but I think it will be economic.
Oh,
I think there probably will be, nothing will ever be attributed to any of the big boys. If anything's going to be attributed to anything, it's all these new quote unquote terror groups that just seem to be popping out of every freaking whack-a-mole hole.
They are too.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that next, but let me finish the story about, the sanctions.
Go for it.
It says, but after Russia, quote unquote, annexed Crimea and was seen as stoking separatist movements in eastern Ukraine, the Treasury Department quietly suspended negotiations in March. With the July 1st deadline approaching, Russian banks are now concerned that the price of investing in the United States is about to go up. It is a huge deal, said Mark E. Matthews, former IRS deputy commissioner. Hey, I wonder if he's the dude that was responsible for all the stuff that Lerner's taking the heat for now. You know, that whole IRS scandal about right-wing groups?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was the deputy commissioner who was supposedly in charge at the time. It would throw enormous uncertainty into the Russian banking community. The new law means that Russian banks that buy U.S. securities after July 1st could forfeit 30% of the interest and dividend payments. The withholding applies to stocks and bonds, including U.S. treasuries, and some previously owned securities would be exempt from the withholding, but in general, previously owned stocks would not. So any of the billions that they've made on the U.S. stock market would get hit with this 30% tax.
That's robbery.
Yeah, but here's my question. If you're going to take all that money, what are you going to do with it? Are you
That's my question
going to keep
too.
it?
Exactly.
Shouldn't that go to the people? Shouldn't that go to like, hey, the feed the starving Ukrainian fund?
Hell no. You think they're going to use it for that?
Are we ready to drop in NATO troops there to like go rescue those poor people?
The more of those dead people, the better. They're going to use it to line their pockets. Sick. It's sick. It pisses you off.
Or it's going to pay Lehman Brothers freaking bonuses next year.
You know it.
It says private investors who use Russian financial institutions to facilitate trades also face the withholding penalty. These private investors could later apply to the IRS for refunds. Good luck. But the inconvenience would be enormous, and I'm sure they would be.
Interesting. They should all apply for refunds all at once.
Yeah, or try and do their refunds in Russian.
Even better.
Yeah. In rubles.
Yeah.
Dollar values.
Convert them, bitches.
Yeah.
That's great.
The U.S. and Russia are significant trading partners, though not all transactions would be subject to the withholding. Last year, the U.S. imported $27 billion in goods from Russia, which ranked 18th among importers to the U.S. According to the Census Bureau, the U.S. exported $11 billion in goods to Russia. Wow, that is pretty significant. I wonder if we're selling like Levi jeans to Russia. Probably.
Probably.
When I was growing up, any of my family that were international, like Levi's and Nikes were the two big things that if you could get overseas, it was hundreds of dollars at that time. The withholding would expand in 2017 if there was still no information sharing agreement. At that point, if investors sold stocks or bonds, the U.S. would be required to withhold also 30% tax on the gross proceedings from those sales. The law would also snag big global banks with subsidiaries that don't have agreements with the IRS to share information. At first, the withholding could be limited to subsidiaries, but eventually, if any part of a large global bank refused to comply with the information sharing requirements, the entire bank would be penalized. Guys, do you see kind of an overreach here? Like the IRS is going into other countries' banks and saying, if you don't give us information on people's accounts that you are holding, we are gonna screw you.
That is huge. You know, they're talking about there's that 30% tax, right? And then they're talking about layering more taxes on that 30%?
Yeah, and gross proceeds. If they still, So this is round 1 in July 2014 is 30%. Round 2, if you still don't comply after 3 years in 2017, we're going to screw you even more.
Oh my God.
And I'm sure that this is to encourage banks like those in Switzerland to start sharing information. It says that this keeps an institution from deciding that it's going to register its entity in Germany, but not register the entity it has in Switzerland, says Denise Hinke of Deloitte Tax. It would also provide a tremendous disincentive, for large global banks to do business in countries where they can't share information with U.S. authorities. So they're also hoping to screw countries who say, well, we're not sharing information with the U.S. These big global banks are going to say, well, then we can't do business in your country because you're not sharing information with the big U.S. overlords.
Wow.
Now I'm going to add my own little brackets. More than 50 countries, Jules brackets, have been strong-armed, undual brackets, into reaching agreements with the U.S. to share tax information about U.S. account holders. The list includes countries famous for bank secrecy, such as, did I not call it, Switzerland and the Cayman Islands.
Yup.
So, all right, there's more to the story, but it goes on and on. I'm going to drop this in the chat. I guess this is pretty significant. I am not sure if this was the reason why Putin backed down immediately. I think he probably would have waited until July or just before, because obviously these sanctions aren't going into effect yet. But who knows? They could have already started messing with interest rates or something on the back end.
Can anyone say blackmail?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Sure does.
This is, my blood pressure's all up now.
Oh no.
This pisses me off because it is the criminals becoming more criminal and just raping everyone. It doesn't matter what country you're in now.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. And it's even more than blackmail. It's extortion.
It is extortion. It's all out freaking criminal extortion. Criminal. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be praised for this action, not freaking penalized or prosecuted.
Guess what? It's going to help us find terrorists. That's why. That's what all this is under the guise of, is this hidden money. This hidden money that we don't know about as the United States government collections arm might be funding terrorists.
When they are the ones that are the freaking terrorists.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's coming out everywhere, all these gun, drug running. Also, nobody, probably you haven't noticed yet, because I think yesterday afternoon I got the final ones loaded, but I cut like 15 new to us May Brussels episodes. They ran overnight last night, midnight to 4 or 5, whatever I run them. And I gotta tell you, they're definitely a must listen. I was catching snippets of them as I was cutting them down to size, and she does a lot about the Middle East. I mean, that last set, the first half of 82 was pretty damning. The second half of 82 is even more. I think I got 6 more episodes and we'll have the whole second half of 82 up and running. So definitely, there's a couple times during the week that they play in a few open spaces. So I'll make sure that all of those are set so you can catch them at least not at 4 a.m. Unless, of course, you're in Australia, then it's your day.
There you
like
go.
Akbar, if he's out there.
Akbar, hey.
There's one more story. Chinese banks eye Russian deals as U.S. sanctions sour relations. And this was from 3 days ago. Chinese banks could be beneficiaries of deteriorating relations between Russia and the West. The pressure growing on Europe and the U.S. investment banks to stop dealing with Moscow. Bankers say sanctions imposed on Russia in response to the Ukraine crisis are creating a situation similar to that in Iran. And please remind me to talk about Iran. There was something that came up that I actually dropped to Brandon early hours of this morning, and all it said was ding ding. Sounds like they're trying to pull Iran now into the foray again, because Iran has gotten all quiet and out of trouble, right? Every time they've tried to make Iran the troublemaker, it's been shot down.
Yep.
Well, they're working on it again, but let me finish the story first. So in response to the Ukraine crisis are creating a situation similar to that in Iran, where Western banks and companies are effectively barred from doing business by regulators at home. Quote, we don't have any problem with Russia, unquote, said a senior executive with Mainland Bank in Hong Kong, who declined to be named. If American banks can't take any Russian-related clients, then I will definitely welcome them to come do business with us. Last week, the United States froze assets and imposed visa bans on several powerful Russians close to Vladimir Putin, and also sanctioned 17 Russian companies in reprisals for Moscow's actions in the Ukraine. Obama said that the moves, which add to measures taken when Russia annexed Crimea in March, it's all still bullshit, were to stop Putin fomenting rebellion in eastern Ukraine. Moscow denies it as doing so. I honestly, I've watched the Ukraine things for the last 4 months pretty closely, and I didn't see Russia doing anything, honestly. The only thing that I saw Putin do was their president was going to ink a deal with the EU for loans, which would have meant the IMF got their ass in there. Now, mind you, the IMF has got their ass in there now. They just inked $17 billion in aid with Ukraine. So, you know what? It didn't help. But at the 11th hour, Putin had the president of Ukraine, I don't remember his name, Yankovic or something like that.
Yeah.
He had him visit Moscow, and at the 11th hour, they turned down the EU, IMF offer, and they inked it with Russia. And that touched off all the violence that was happening in Kiev. So, I didn't see Putin, we were just talking economics. The people that were there, though they were the people protesting and they didn't want to be economically aligned with Russia, I don't know. I don't live in a country that had been under communist rule for many years, so I guess I can see how they really wanted to be kind of aligned with the West. But being in the West and seeing the economic destabilization and the looting that's going on everywhere, I would say that Ukraine probably should have sat back and thought about that for a few minutes,
I would say so too.
Again, be careful what you ask for. So now they got what they asked for, but their nation is in complete shambles at this point. Yeah. And we've sent in rabble-rousers, I'm not going to say that Russia didn't have anything to do with sending in provocateurs, because just like we do, they probably did some of the same stuff.
Oh, sure. You know it.
But I got to say, I doubt all of those troops that were down in Crimea were ones that Russia were sending in to start trouble. I mean, it looked to me like there were a lot of Crimeans that were very, very adamant about staying close to Russia.
Yeah. What's the deal with all these so-called Nazis that are running around that are aligned with Russia? I mean, those look like the provocateur guys to me.
I haven't seen them.
Yeah, it's weird. I'll have to bring that up.
I did find a G.I. Joe SS doll.
Oh God, really?
Yeah. Actually, I was wondering if I should get it because it was only like $6. But he was in full regalia uniform. I mean, we could get the Nazis, and then they had the Russian one, and we could have a whole, I could be doing pictures of battles daily, posting. It might be kind of fun. I mean, it could be like our own UCY version of Robot Chicken.
I'd fight the Nazi Joe over to dinner.
I used to have, an 8mm camera years ago I bought at, I don't know if was eBay around in those days? I remember I found it online, but it probably wasn't eBay. It was some, nobody knows whose auction website. But I did. Go ahead.
That's exactly what those stop caption it's what?
Yeah,
stop motion 8mm?
Yeah, that's what I got it for. I had seen Frank Zappa's Baby Snakes, which has all the claymation.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and my sister was in film school at the time, so one of my trips to New York, I had asked all the guys, they all went to film school, so I was like, what the hell is this claymation shit? So they were showing me, and it's like, oh, you just do, shot after shot, and each one you got to squish it and move it, and it is laborious. It
is
something like that together, and I never finished my project, but now with the way technology is, and you even get a halfway decent video editor for free. I think it would be kind of fun.
That would be fun. Maybe it would be a wise $6 investment then.
Well, I gotta tell you, there's all these dolls for $5 a piece, and they're out of boxes and everything, but there are some really good deals out there. So I might do it. It might be a kind of fun summer project, and I can get my munchkin to help me. I'll show her how to do stop action, video.
That would keep her busy for frickin' hours.
Oh my God, we can make Barbie movies and post them on YouTube.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
and that would be like good experience for her to learn how to do it the old school way.
Well, old school way, my sister used to have this editing table that had scotch tape and a razor blade on it. That was old school.
Yeah.
And like she had an entire corner of her living room with 9-foot ceilings with this huge shelving unit they built with 2x4s and, particle board for holding film cans, cause she had this full length 2-hour, shit was supposed to be a 2-hour feature length movie that we probably shot 6 or 8 months of footage. Oh my God. You would not believe how much film there was. And she tried to hand cut all that.
Wow.
I don't think she ever finished it. 20 years later, it's not done.
Holy crap.
I told her she should just freaking pay somebody at this point. She's like, but they don't know what shots I want. It's like, well.
No way.
I don't know. Maybe, I think just about everyone in the movie that we used in the movie is probably dead by now.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
20 years later, we shot it in Buffalo at my grandmother's bar.
Oh, wow.
Uncle's Junkyard and, all these other places. And most everybody's gone now.
My goodness.
It might have even been 25 years ago. Let me see. She graduated started in 87, 88, 89, 90, 91. So she graduated in 91. So we were filming it in 90 and 91.
My good. That's amazing. That's definitely amazing.
It was titled There's No Tomorrow.
Oh,
yeah.
Really? Wow.
So, maybe someday I'll come out. Anyway, let me read a little bit more of this, cause I still have other things I want to get to. Financial industry sources told the South China Morning Post that several banks, including Goldman Sachs, guess who? Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and Barclays have tightened their internal compliance measures on deals that may have direct or indirect relations to the Russian government or Russian companies. U.S. sanctions on Iran are so rigorous that banks routinely ask potential clients if they have any business activities in the country. If the answer is yes, the U.S. bank may have to walk away from the deal, even though the client is not an Iranian company. Last year's planned Hong Kong listing by Chongqing Lifan Group, a major motorcycle manufacturer in China, suffered because of these rules. So apparently they were going to sell motorcycles or had a dealership in Iran. Market sources say it was pitched by many U.S. investment banks, but all dropped out once it was discovered that Lifan exported products to Iran. Oh, there you go. I'm not really going to talk about Iran. This is all about Russia. I want to talk about late last year, Russia struck a deal with China Development Bank, one of the 3 policy banks on the mainland, to fund large infrastructure projects in the Far East and Southern Siberia, which could be worth at least $5 billion. Russia and China have been deepening economic ties in recent years. Trade between the two was valued at $89.2 billion. Wow, that's even a bigger number than the U.S., wasn't it?
Yeah.
$89.2 billion with a B, according to China Customs Administration data, the mainland's 10th biggest trade partner. So there you go. Looks like China is going to clean up nicely from us telling Russian to go screw.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, I saw that coming, actually.
Yeah, well, definitely. But the fact that now China is coming after one of the Pacific Rim nations that we've been over there patting on the back and becoming all chummy with is interesting.
Yeah, ramming boats and everything. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty crazy.
It all connects. I think this is all just a giant stage. I don't know. I can't help thinking about it. And you know what I always think about though? I've been, since you were reading that last article, I'm just thinking, freaking George Orwell wrote about it. Eurasia. We've always been at war with Eurasia. You know what I mean? You could just see the seeds of that just starting right now. And this is what it's going to come up to. I don't know. I feel it in my bones.
Well, what I want to play now is this clip that came out a few days ago called Extremist Group Growing in Africa. And of course I titled it with, of course they are. Whack-a-moles popping out from everywhere. We got, Boko Haram. We got al-Nusra. We got that ISIL. Who else? There's Al-Qaeda. There's, help me. Who are some?
That new one that took those kids.
No, that's the Boko. That's the Boko.
Oh, that's the Boko. Oh,
yep.
Okay.
But there was another one. What was the one that had the glossy manual that, the American who got drone bombed was a part of?
Oh God,
I don't remember that one. But notice they're just cropping up everywhere, right? All right. So here, let's check this out. Fear, because remember, terrorist groups are what we have to watch out for. Are you kidding me? Not one friggin' person watched this video from May 6th. I gotta tell you, it makes me very sad because people are just, this is why people don't get it. Because they're not paying attention. You gotta pay attention to get it. All right. Here, I'm gonna play this.
Even as the world watches horrified, Boko Haram continues its terror, kidnapping 8 more girls. It's just the latest vicious attack inflicted on Africa's most vulnerable by rising extremist groups. But there is also growing worry Africa's Al-Qaeda are joining forces on bomb-making and assassinations and threatening attacks on Western interests. Boko Haram, which has killed hundreds of Nigerians, is stepping up its capabilities.
They have directly threatened the United States interest in Western and Northern Africa, and have vowed that they could conduct attacks against U.S. embassies in the region.
The U.S. believes Boko Haram's leader had contacts with Osama bin Laden. Most worrying, it currently has close ties to another affiliate in Africa, which was behind last year's attack on an Algerian natural gas plant that killed 40 hostages. The two groups may now have trained together. A third Al-Qaeda affiliate, Al-Shabaab, has also stepped up its operations even after the attack on the Westgate shopping mall in Nairobi. Just this weekend, suspected militants attacked 2 buses in Kenya, killing and injuring civilians. A growing worry, senior Al-Shabaab operatives have continuing contacts with Nasser al-Wahishi, the leader of Al-Qaeda in Yemen, who has vowed to attack the U.S. Washington Monday announced it signed another 10-year lease to occupy a base in Djibouti, a major hub for U.S. intelligence and counterterrorism operations in Africa. The U.S. now hopes to send a team to Nigeria to help find the schoolgirls.
It would include U.S. military personnel, law enforcement officials with expertise in investigations and hostage negotiations.
So that actually, the end of that clip dovetails perfectly with the point I wanted to illustrate. So never let a good crisis go to waste. Because, here we go, again, no views.
There was more deadly unrest in Nigeria today. Officials say hundreds of people were killed in a militant attack on a northeastern border town. This comes as a team of specialists from the United States heads to the country to support efforts to free more than 270 abducted schoolgirls. We have an on-the-ground report from Raghi Omar of Independent Television News.
The capital of Nigeria in a state of lockdown amidst tight security for an economic conference. Normally bustling streets left almost empty. But for ordinary Nigerians, there is only one issue dominating the headlines and piling pressure on the government. Reverend Aaron Ndurimbita fled Chibok where the girls were kidnapped. he manages to get through on the phone to a father in the town whose daughter is still missing. The father in Chibuk paints a harrowing picture of a town still living in fear and where people are haunted by what could be happening to the girls.
He said even the soldiers are running away together with the people.
So where are they sleeping then, if they leave the town?
They go to sleep in the bush or on the mountain hill.
Men, women, children?
Everybody. That's what he is saying. This man that I've just spoken to has said that nothing is good for them again in life. He said it's like he is not himself anymore. Because it is better that you know that the child is dead. But when the child is alive and in the hands of people who you know can kill, people who you know can rape.
It's to prevent Boko Haram from doing this that the United States and the UK are now sending specialist military and diplomatic advisors to assist Nigeria. Time is of the essence, and the government here is adamant it's doing everything it can.
Special divisions of 2 battalions have been dedicated to this search. Virtually all the military communication apparatus of the Nigerian army, it has been moved to Borno State to facilitate communications among both the ground troops and the air surveillance.
It's been 3 weeks since the girls were abducted from their school. This has become a crisis of international proportions. But even with the eyes of the world on the growing efforts to get them back, parents remain angry that so much time has already been lost.
First Lady Michelle Obama late today tweeted a picture of herself holding up a sign with the hashtag Bring Back Our Girls.
Now, I feel horrible that this is going on, but on the flip side, we are using this now as an excuse, I think, to put some troops on the ground. It says the U.S. and the UK are sending military and intelligence specialists to help aid their return. So it gets us into another section of Africa with people on the ground. We got the UK, we got France, and we got the U.S. in there, and I'm sure that there are others, but this is
guess what? Once we're there, we're not going to leave.
We're not. And this is a proxy war with China. China had actually been in there providing lots of financing for a bunch of those African nations. And, when the African nations can't pay the loans back, China says, don't worry, we'll run your military bases. We'll run the companies that are there.
That's right.
Yeah. So I don't know. When I just look at that kind of makes me sad because though those parents are desperate and that group, which I will guess that at some point we are going to find out that Boko Haram, just like the, what were they called? The pre-Al-Qaeda that we trained Bin Laden, Mujahideen. Right?
Yeah.
That we were a party in getting those guys all trained and ramped up as well. I bet you we're going to find out that this group was some group that we helped radicalize somewhere.
Oh yeah. That's the case. You absolutely know it. And this is the psychological operations going on right now. And then you have, Michelle's holding up her little hashtag sign.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And
to show the alliance. And, this is going to get all of these Nigerians now to be thinking that the U.S. is so great. Bring in your drones and surveil. Bring in your troops. And this is using the whole fear paradigm.
It is.
Fear.
It's the Hegelian dialectic here with running on the Nigerian people. Oh my God, our children are gone. Help us.
Well,
we're the ones who probably had the most to do with it in the first place.
Well, I'm going to tell you, in that FEMA training I went 2 years ago, that was what they kept telling us about, is that the terrorists are going to go after your children because that's where they get the most bang for the buck.
That's right. Here we go.
So one thing I want to point out, anyone who follows these news clips, I don't know if you've noticed, but you brought up a good point when I played those 2 clips back in regards to the Ukraine. One thing, if anyone pays attention to the Pigmine video feed, they're going to notice that there are at times a bunch of videos that are all on a similar topic, just maybe from different networks. And there's a couple reasons for that. One is that the Pigmine channel is meant to be an archive, and it is. I mean, there's probably by this point, there's got to be at least 15 or 20,000 videos, I would think, grand total. The one channel's still up, but I mean, there's videos from the other 3 channels that have been taken down that are still out there safely put away, hopefully to get online someday at some point. But those videos out there not only are an archive, but one thing that I have found is that versus looking at stories, which might show up in a search engine, which might show up in your feed, which might show up on your favorite website, the stories are all disconnected. You gotta really kind of search for them, and they're all in different places. But when I go through the daily news feed of the videos, and especially looking at the headlines and the fact that he does all the main networks and he has certain topics, and once he's hit a topic, he's going to stay on, and anytime he sees an update, it really, really helps me connect the dots because they're all together. You know what I mean? And every network has a different view on it. And there's always a different little snippet that maybe ABC didn't mention, but PBS sure did. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think it helps me a lot. It helps me a lot, like, just kind of, I don't know, see more than I would necessarily just reading one story.
Right.
I might see a story that caught my attention, but I might not go out and find 5 stories, but I most certainly can easily play 5 30-second clips.
Exactly. And just like I picked up in those 2 back-to-back clips, they all somehow can interrelate to each other and connect. So that's important.
Exactly.
It's absolutely important. I totally agree with you.
So, I don't know. If anyone wants to know how I stay up on all this shit, that's probably it.
Yeah.
I do these videos every day, and some days it makes my ears and eyes bleed, but.
Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Here, there were a couple more things that happened. Oh, do we want to? Here, this is for a laugh.
U.S. intelligence officials have expressed shock over Israel's aggressive and widespread espionage activities in the United States. During a classified briefing on Capitol Hill, officials reportedly said that Israel's spying operations have far exceeded similar activities by other close allies such as Germany, France, Britain, and Japan.
So there you go. Israel
that is
continues to spy on us, and it says something about friends spying on friends.
They're shocked. They're shocked. They're shocked to find this out. Yeah, bullshit. They're shocked.
I thought it was kind of funny.
It is hilarious. Oh my God. So they're everywhere. They're freaking everywhere.
And now, in the middle of all this chaos, remember, it's been really quiet. We haven't demonized Iran in a while. I haven't heard Bibi crying about anything. I haven't heard that he's been lobbing any bombs or anything recently. But we have managed now to find a way to do a dotted line again between Syria and Iran. Remember, Bibi tried to do that in the very beginning.
That's right.
So here we go. Ding, ding, ding.
Iran has rejected as baseless a Western media report that Tehran wants to send chlorine bombs to Syria. Iran's foreign ministry says such allegations reflected in the British newspaper The Daily Telegraph are part of a wider media campaign against the Islamic Republic.
So there you go. They're saying that these chlorine bombs now, the chemical weapons that have been going off in Syria, Iran wants to supply.
Oh my God. Guess where they're really coming from.
Yeah, well, who knows?
Israel.
Well, I had seen something about some of the chemical weapons. I'm trying to remember. Was it Turkey? I think that was where the clip said, like, all this time they had been blaming it on these other rogue nations. And at one point they had blamed it on the other Al-Qaeda, if you remember. Do you remember the Al-Qaeda the real Al-Qaeda had to put out a press release and say, no, we're not associated with that Al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
Well, then I saw a clip a few weeks back where it came out that now some of those chemical weapons might be being manufactured in Turkey, which of course is where they're funneling all the guns into, which is also where we came out that the CIA was training all of the rebels that then we funneled into Syria to create all the unrest.
Right. It either comes from Israel or it comes from us.
You know, and here's the thing though. I am not saying that Assad is a good guy either. Because I don't think any of the rulers are good guys, to be honest, guys. And I think that on the backside of all of this, we know that these people are all making money. It doesn't matter if your people die.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're dropping bombs or whatever. The military-industrial complex makes money. And all these guys are invested. Didn't we hear that story about Cameron, the former prime minister of the UK, and he even had a seat at the New York Stock Exchange.
That was Tony Blair.
Tony Blair, that's who it is.
Yeah, that was
Blair Incorporated.
Be liar.
Yep. And now he's like some rich dude because he's cashing in on the military-industrial complex.
That's right. He worked it for years. He knows how it works. Now he's just crossing his legs and banking on it.
Well, and all he had to do was keep his mouth shut, toe the party line with his buddy Bushy, and they said, don't worry, we'll take care of you.
Take real good care of you.
Yep.
Absolutely. That's how it's worked. That's how it's worked for a long time. And May Brussels obviously has been talking about how all that crap started in the Middle East back in the 80s when they got their foot in the door back then.
Well, right. And the one episode I was listening to last night, one of the last ones I was cutting, I think it was October or November of 82, outlined a lot of this, like, specifically. And it's all the same players.
Yes, absolutely. It's all the same players.
I mean, it honestly sounds like a news report from today when you're listening to it.
Isn't that, it's amazing how that happens.
Mm-hmm.
People need to really wake up to this crap because it's all the same. And, you know, Assad's just a installed puppet, you know, by his puppet masters, you know. It's all the governments are just puppet governments over there. It's sick.
Yeah, they are.
It's happening it's the same damn playbook all this time.
And not only that, guess what? They all get oil and resources. And you know what? I honestly, from everything that I've seen out of Africa over the last, 8 months to a year or so, seems to me like most of the rulers in Africa are pretty corrupt and can be bought pretty easily.
Yeah, that's typical. You don't get into those positions unless that's the case. Seriously, it doesn't matter what part of the world you're in. The banksters are running it all.
They sure are, and they're just slipping people money. So, I guess one other thing here. So, I don't know if we covered that story about I think we might have the other day, the Scorpions drummer that ended up getting thrown in jail, in Saudi Arabia for making.
What? I didn't hear this.
Oh, yeah, I played a clip yesterday. I don't know where it is right now, but, he made some comments in an airport in Dubai, and he got stuck in jail for a couple months now. They were like anti-Muslim comments. But, I guess now an FBI agent, this is an FBI agent's quote unquote honest mistake, gets him arrested in Pakistan. I'd be a little afraid of being in Paki.
Locked away in a Pakistani jail cell on anti-terrorism charges, this FBI agent from Miami now finds himself at the center of an international incident. U.S. government officials tell CNN the agent, Joel Cox Eugene, was in Karachi, boarding a flight back to Islamabad with other FBI agents when airport authorities searched his bag and found 15 9mm bullets, 3 small knives, and a wrench. He did not have a gun on him. Pakistani law prohibits weapons and ammunition on commercial flights. The agent was arrested, taken away in handcuffs. His cell phone and laptop also confiscated. The next day in court, a Pakistani judge ordered him to be held in custody until his next court appearance in a few days.
If the government of Pakistan is worried about armed FBI agents in that country, then they are a long way from solving their real problems.
U.S. sources tell CNN the Pakistani government gave Agent Eugene permission to be there, working with an international task force to actually help Pakistan battle public corruption. They say the agent did turn in his gun before boarding the plane, but simply forgot to hand in the ammunition.
These are FBI agents. They know who they are. They know what they're doing. They know what they're trying to accomplish. If anything more is made out of it, then shame on them.
It really was an honest mistake, said a U.S. government official.
We are coordinating with Pakistani authorities to resolve this matter, and we are hopeful in that regard.
I have a couple comments about that.
I bet you do.
Yeah, like, how funny is that?
It is.
How funny is that we are being treated the way we treat others?
Hello.
Terrorist was an anti-terrorist control group, and you're going to jail, and we're confiscating your shit, and we're gonna go through it all.
That's awesome. And no wonder that guy was like, well, there's FBI agents in your country. You don't have anything to worry about. That's exactly why they're worried. Why are you assholes going to screw it around there? Hello?
And here's another question. Why is it FBI and not CIA?
Right. The FBI is on their way to freaking Africa with those missing girls now, too.
Yeah, I don't know. So they're turning it into some international task force now, I guess. Mutation.
And quite the mutation. Oh my God, the show's almost over.
I know. How's your headache?
Much better. It's going away because the blood pressure got up, talking about the FBI agents in Pakistan. Oh my God.
Yeah, it forced all the blood back into the brain, so now you're all better.
Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
Wow.
I know. I'm trying to here, let's do one more that might make us laugh. The Cinco de Mayo segment. MSNBC got bitch slapped.
On Cinco de Mayo, MSNBC's Way Too Early program offended some folks out there while trying to make light of the way some Americans celebrate the holiday. Take a look at this. It is Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May, celebrating Mexican heritage and pride, and it commemorates the Mexican army over the French forces in the Battle of Puebla back in 1862. It's also an excuse to drink tequila on a Monday morning at work for Lewis. President Obama will mark the holiday with a reception at the White House. You have to drink the whole thing and eat the worm.
And the best part was they had one of the reporters with the sombrero on, sucking a bottle of tequila, shaking a maraca, walking back and forth in front of the anchor. So they got bitch slapped and needed to apologize for that.
That's funny.
Anyway, all right, so we're down to the last 30 seconds, guys. So thank you very much for being on this morning, Lady People.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening, everybody. Stick around. Mr. Kevin Blanche is up next. You are working tomorrow, correct?
I do have to work tomorrow.
Okay, so I think
Fridays from now on. It sucks.
I think SLC and IOTA said that they may call in tomorrow.
Hey,
so
that's great.
That'll be a fun show. Hopefully you guys can. If not, it'll be just me. I hope I don't make your ears bleed. All right, everyone, stick around tonight. There's lots on. We have Chuck. Don't forget Chuck with the Ocelli Effect is at 6:00 now. Yay! And there we go. All right, guys. Everybody have a happy Thursday, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow.